Hi everybody, I'm Mrs. Giroux, and today we're going to be talking about finding the central idea. Now, you may have heard of main idea before, and sometimes we talk about the main idea of a story, and sometimes we say the words central idea. It kind of means the same thing. The central idea or the main idea is simply what the text is mostly about. We tend to use the word central idea when we talk about a nonfiction piece of text, an informational piece. So, how do we find the central idea of what the text is mostly about? Well, we want to look for clues. We want to look at the headings. We want to look at the visuals. And we want to say to ourselves, what are these pictures telling me this is going to mostly be about? What is the title of the story going to tell me this is going to mostly be about? Sometimes when we read the first paragraph, the very first sentence tells us what the story, what the text is mostly going to be about. So you might find the central idea in the very first sentence. Also, sometimes authors get a little tricky and they put it in the very last sentence of the first paragraph so that you have to kind of have an introduction a little bit. It kind of eases you into the central idea. So you might find it as the last sentence of the first paragraph. Look for repeated words, words that the author seems to be saying over and over to help you figure out what the central idea is. The central idea is usually stated as one single sentence. And then within the text, you're going to see a lot of key details to support what the central idea is. So I want to take you over and show you the story American Places, American Ideals. And we noticed that when we looked at the story, at the very top in paragraph number 1, there was this little short part, and I'm going to just highlight this in blue for you. And it says, Americans are loyal to the idea of freedom. In fact, our country was founded on it. Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, stands for this important ideal. And when they say this important ideal, they mean the ideal of freedom. This map shows sites in Washington, D.C. that stand for freedom. So, I see some repeated words. In the title, I see American twice, American Places, American Ideal. So I would say the central idea has something to do with America, American places, and American ideals. And when we think of the American ideals, I saw the word freedom referred to 3 times in that first part. I saw it that there was an idea of freedom, that the capital stands for this important idea, and that in Washington, D.C., there is all the places that stand for freedom. So I would maybe think that this text is mostly going to be about how there's places in America that stand for freedom. So I could state that the central idea of this text is places in America that stand for freedom. And if you look in the bottom at the rest of the boxes, there's different places that stood for freedom: the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument, or the White House. So if somebody was to ask me, what's the central idea of American places, American ideas? I would say the central idea is that America has lots of places that stand for freedom. Thanks for listening, and I hope you practice central idea.